Today we're going to be talking about holiday calculations. Caroline, I've been getting a lot of questions from clients about statutory annual leave, how it works for full-time, part-time, 0 hours, and really how that's affected as well by overtime and bank holidays, etc.
Okay, so I guess the starting point for that is statutory holiday entitlement, which is 5.6 weeks, commonly or based on a 5-hour day, 28 days, and that's for a full-time person.
Yeah, so working it out for full-time staff, it's 5.6 weeks.
Yes, absolutely, and that's very, very straightforward.
Okay, and that works out as 28 days, so they can do it in weeks or days? Is it up to
them? Absolutely. So the employer can say, well, it's not suitable time to go, but they have to let them have those days at some point.
Okay, so then it starts getting a bit more tricky with part-time employees.
It does, yes. So part-time employees are entitled to the same amount, 5.6 weeks, but it's prorated to the amount of days they do. So if they work 3 days a week, then they get 3/5 of that 5.6 weeks entitlement. And yeah, that can be quite straightforward.
Okay, and then if they work 5 days but fewer hours in a day, what takes priority, the hours or the days, or is there a different calculation for it?
So if they work 5 days a week, no matter if they work 10 hours a day or 2 hours a day, it doesn't matter. They work 5 days a week, so they have 5.6 weeks or 28 days entitlement.
Okay.
So that doesn't change the amount of days that they're entitled to, but obviously it changes the amount of pay that they get, because they'll only get, if they work 2 hours, 2 hours pay instead of 10 hours. It will be their normal salary.
Okay, that makes sense. If they work part-time, but different hours each week, that can get confusing, can't it? So let's say they work more hours on a Monday than they do for other days. How does that work out? How do they take their holiday?
Okay, so then that does become a little bit trickier because the days aren't the same. So we would then look at calculating their holiday in hours rather than days.
Right.
We would look at how many hours they do a week, times that by 5.6, and then every time they took holiday, we'd just take that off their total amount.
Okay, so I think what we're saying is that there are specific calculations that everyone can learn that can work out holiday in pretty much any scenario.
Yeah.
What happens though if you've got people who work overtime? Does that affect their holiday?
Yes, so regular overtime needs to be included as part of the holiday calculation. Not the amount of time, but the pay that they get. So if you think that holiday is based on health and safety, and we want people to take time away from the workplace to rest, if somebody regularly does overtime and only gets paid their normal basic pay when they're on holiday, they'll suffer a detriment. They'll think, well, I don't want to go because I'll lose all my overtime. So overtime, that's been incorporated into law, and so that must be included in the payment they receive for that holiday.
Okay, so they don't get any extra days off, but they do get paid more.
Correct.
Right, okay. So if it's worked regularly, that must be calculated even if overtime isn't guaranteed. So somebody has worked a few hours overtime, but it's not guaranteed out overtime every week. So does that calculation always have to be included?
No, it depends. If somebody could say that is their regular wage with their overtime on top, then it should be incorporated. If somebody on the rare occasion does a few hours here and hours there, then no, because it doesn't become part of their expected pay for that period.
Okay, understood. Okay, so the last one, 0-hour contracts. How does it work for flexible workers who don't have any set hours?
Okay, so we go back to the hourly pay and the hourly sort of accrual. And the easiest way to do it is using the 12.07%. I'm not going to go into how that's calculated, but based on, as long as you offer the statutory amount, which is 28 days, 5.6 weeks, then you can use the 12.07 calculation. So for within the month, they've done 100 hours of work, is 100 times 12.07%, and that's how much holiday they accrue for that month.
Okay. Right, so there's quite a lot there to take on board on holiday calculations, but I suppose the best way is to give us a call if anyone needs any advice.
Absolutely, because we can help people work out the calculations. We can help set up some formulas, because not everybody will offer 28 days and therefore the 12.07%. They might offer more, in which case that becomes slightly different. So absolutely, we can help there.
Okay, thank you. Still mind blowing, but thank you.